Welcome, Tag Radio listeners. It's your boy Rome, here with T and G from Tag Radio for the post-game on the patio from Game 5.
What do you got to say?
Lassie, I'm going to start with you. We're going to go back to our fact and fiction segment that we had in the pregame. What do you think about this being LeBron's game of his life? How did he perform tonight, and how did it relate to your prediction in the pregame?
Well, I was right in the pregame about the points, but I mean, 30 points is a lot of points.
Absolutely.
You were right about that as well. That's tough. That's Dirk had 29 tonight.
Yeah.
Played well. That's tough to do. He had 19 shot attempts over 18. I still think he kind of forced some shots, but Wade was out of the game for a majority of the time. But I feel like overall, the Mavs did exactly what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Make LeBron James beat you after two subpar performances. So I think we were correct about that in our assumption, and obviously it worked out. The Mavs want LeBron to beat us, and we gave him that opportunity, and he couldn't do it.
Absolutely. Grant, what do you think about this this game being a must-win for the Mavericks tonight? Well, was it a must-win? And I mean, we all kind of agreed it wasn't necessarily a must-win. According to the math, it was a must-win from previous series in NBA history. But for tonight, how big of a win was this for the Mavs?
I mean, going into the game, we both agreed, all of us agreed that it wasn't a must-win. But after they got off to the lead and they were leading the whole game, yes. I think once it got to the fourth quarter, it was a must-win because you can't choke that away. You can't give Miami any breath, any hope that they can win the fourth quarter. We've made it very clear this entire series that the fourth quarter is our quarter, that we will never quit, we won't give up leads, and we're always going to fight. As Taylor calls him, Derek, no quit-ski. No quitting them.
No quit-ski.
It's good.
And like G said, the fourth quarter's been our quarter. And for us to finally give them that glimmer of hope that maybe they can make a comeback, whereas we've owned the fourth quarter, we're the comeback kings.
Right.
And for us to hold the lead, because we had a lead, well, they had one lead in the second half. It was middle of the fourth quarter.
1 or 2 points, yeah, absolutely.
And for us to get that lead, like I had talked about in the pregame, and hold that lead, I think that the effects of this game turning over to the next game are huge. Mm-hmm. The momentum is swayed completely in our favor right now. We're already riding it, and now it's at an all-time high. I think we can close it out.
Absolutely. Hey, Rome, I want to ask you a question before we wrap up.
Okay.
Okay, your man is Jet.
Right.
And today the bench came up huge. Can you talk more about that? I mean, JJ and Jet both scored in the teens and 20s. I mean, that's huge. What do you think?
JJ is not on the bench, but they did start him tonight. But if I had to pick one X factor for the Mavs tonight that made an absolute difference, it was JJ.
Definitely.
JJ was 3 for 4 from three-point view.
4 for 5.
4 for 5.
4 for 5 after abysmal, really, shooting performance from behind the arc this entire series.
He finally did what he was supposed to do.
And I think he stepped up immensely tonight. He drove to the hole. He didn't have too many turnovers, and he knocked down the threes that were most important to the Mavs tonight. And Jet as well. Jet stepped up as much as he did last game. He continued to be aggressive against LeBron James.
Huge.
The whole entire series, the Heat have done an absolute amazing job of closing on Jet when he gets the ball beyond the three-point arc.
All our shooters.
And Jet has and Jet has done a good job of making him think he's going to take that quick shot and taking it to the hole, putting up a floater, or dishing it off if he has to at the last second.
And it goes back to the adjustments. Jet realized in the first couple games that he wasn't going to get those open looks. He can't just sit and do his quick release shot that we've all come to know and love from Jet. He's adjusted his game. He's put it on himself, and he's driving. He had 6 assists tonight. You know, this isn't the Jason Terry of 06 when he was playing point guard. He had 6 assists from the
Jason Kidd of Atlanta right
Absolutely.
there. Playing point.
Absolutely.
Dishing.
And his 6 assists combined with JJ Barea's dominance really tonight off the bench, he completely canceled out Mario Chalmers heaves that he's throwing up.
Half-court shots.
Half-court shots, contested threes. Each time which I love to see, each time Miami thought about gaining some momentum in the game with maybe that three from Wade to pull them up a little bit, that all those layups they kept getting continually midway through the fourth, the Mavs would respond right away, and they would keep it close, and they finally brought us ahead. And the stops at the end, the defensive game, phenomenal once again at the end. The way that we keep shifting from man to zone is throwing them completely off.
I agree with that. G, do you think Eric Spoelstra made an attempt to make in-game adjustments, as we discussed in the pregame, to alter the momentum or alter the outcome of the game? And do you think those adjustments that he made were effective or not?
All right. Well, Joel Anthony got 2 quick fouls to start out, so Juwan Howard played a lot more than he has this whole series. Also, we saw Eddie House come in for a short period of time because Dallas was scoring so much. It took them out of that defensive mindset and made them play an offensive-heavy player that's, what is he? He's instant offense. He's a microwave off the bench. So he changed some things. It really didn't help because, Dallas was just on tonight. When we look at the stats tomorrow in review, I'm sure that Dallas' shooting was pretty close to 50, or
I think it was over 60.
Yeah, it was incredible. So I don't think Dallas's hot hand gave Eric Spoelstra's changes a chance to succeed.
And a guy like Eddie House, from that, he hasn't played all series. I don't even know how much he's played in the playoffs. I'm not in depth with the Heat's playoff run, but it seemed like every time he got even some slim hope of an open look, he was jacking it up. And I know Eddie House can make open threes, but in that situation, I think he's a guy to come in that doesn't need to make mistakes, kind of like our Brian Cardinal. You just put him out there to kind of be out there, be positive if you can be, but just kind of be an extra body. And I guarantee he's not going to play another minute this series.
Absolutely. With all the pressure on LeBron tonight to step up his game and to have a better performance than he did with the 8 points in Game 4, do you think, talking to you, Taylor, do you think the Heat can respond to this game and take Game 6, or do you think the Mavericks can maybe, what a lot of people haven't talked about, ride this momentum and take Game 6 in Miami? They are the best away. They have the best away team record in the Western Conference this year. What do you think about that?
This is the first time this whole series that teams won back-to-back games. Okay. So obviously this game was huge.
Since March 6th, the Heat have lost back-to-back
There you
games.
go. There you go. And this has got to be a big blow to LeBron's confidence. He was coming out and trying to assert his will and show that he is the MVP. He's the best player in the world. And tonight, he had just as many points as J.J. Barea. Less points than Jason Terry, Dirk Nowitzki. He was outshined by 3 or 4 players on the Mavs. And his counterpart, Dwayne Wade, only had 23. So finally, as the trend has shown with the Mavs D, we're shutting down each player as the series goes along. And I think to kind of close this out, we're going to get into it much, much more tomorrow. And we have 3 days until Sunday, so we can talk about it much more. But the effects of this game going forward, I think the ball is in the Mavs' court.
Absolutely.
And no one has counted us in to close it out in 6 games. And I think it's very, very possible now. Very possible now.
Well, for Rome, Taylor, and Grant, we're Tiger Radio, Postgame on the Patio. We need y'all to comment. Tune in tomorrow because we're going to be breaking down the game with all these stats. We love y'all. Follow us.
Be sure to follow us.
See you Sunday.